Hello, Igniters. It is Michelle Wilson with Ignite Your Essence. And on behalf of Ignite Your Essence team and the Los Angeles Tribune, we just want to thank you for just joining us today. And we have a really powerful show today. And before I introduce our guest, I just have a question for you. Have you ever tried a diet in your lifetime or struggle with keeping weight off? Well, today we have a special guest. It is Krista Pepper, and she's going to share with us how we can stop using diets and really connect with our habits. But before I introduce Krista, I want to show a little bit more about who she is.
Krista Pepper is an online personal trainer and habit-based nutrition coach specializing in behavioral change. After years of trying to figure out how to fit the mold society had in mind for women, she decided to embrace her own imperfections and sought out on a journey to become the best version of herself, starting with healing the relationship she had with herself and her body. Through her journey, she discovered her passion to empower other women to love their bodies in the moment, rather than waiting for a special number on a scale or a certain dress size. Life is happening now, not 30 pounds from now. Krista Pepper has been featured on Fox, CBS, NBC, and Influence Magazine Top 100 Entrepreneurs. Krista is also an international best-selling author of This Is 30, Now What? She holds multiple certifications, including NASM Certified Personal Trainer, Behavioral Change Specialist, Precision Nutrition Exercise Science, and many more. And now, a guest on Ignite Your Essence TV, Krista Pepper, welcome.
Welcome, Krista. We're so excited to have you today, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, before we get started with our interview, I know we just shared a little bit about you in our intro video, but I just want to show a before and after picture because I am so amazed. I love this quote that you stated. It's like, women deserve to be empowered to love themselves today while working towards a healthier tomorrow. And I know when we talked the other day, you shared with us how you lost 100 pounds and about the diet. It was about changing behaviors. But before you share that journey, just can you take us back to, when you were at that point in your life, the before picture?
Yeah, it's definitely been a journey. It hasn't happened overnight. It's been years in the making. And, where I was at previous to all of this is I had shifted from retail management. I had become a stay-at-home mom. I had just had my fourth child, and I was struggling with postpartum depression. I was severely overweight. I was unhappy. I was unfulfilled. I couldn't understand as a stay-at-home mom that my value was in how clean is my house. And so I was really having a hard time. I sought out help from doctors and other professions, like just trying to fix what I thought was broken. And so that's kind of where that journey started and the process began.
I so can relate with you because I am a mom and I've been married and I've been in that position where I was a stay-at-home mom. And as you said, we get wrapped up into our identity of making sure that the house is clean, right? And you're taking care of everyone else but yourself, right? So what was that moment, that aha moment for you when it's like, I want to find myself. I want to be healthier. Because I know for me, there was a time when I was really unhealthy, and I knew that if I didn't get healthy, I couldn't keep up with my kids, right? So that was one of my motivating factors. Was there a motivation that I know you said you tried a lot of different diets and stuff like that, and none of them seemed to work. So what was that transition or that switch that allowed you to really take off that 100 pounds that you had? And I mean, you look beautiful. So just share with us that journey.
It was a culmination of all of the things that were going on. Because as a woman, we identify with the roles that we play, right? If you and I talk to each other, it's I'm a mom, I'm a spouse, I'm a girlfriend, I'm a partner, I'm a business owner, I'm, all these things, right? And it became to the point where I was struggling so hard and I couldn't figure out, was the weight the before thing, or was it my mental health issues? Like, what was it? It just felt like a big circle. I was just spinning circles trying to figure out, how do I fix what's going on? Is the weight just a factor of my unhappiness and my unhealthiness in my mind? Chicken and egg situation. Which direction are we going?
Yeah.
And so I actually, I was doing that, the thing that we all do, it's 11 o'clock at night or 2 in the morning, you're up, nursing and doing whatever you're doing. And there's an infomercial and you're like, oh, that's going to save me. That's what I need. Let's, pull out the credit card, buy whatever it is. I went to the doctors and they said, I think you have postpartum depression. You should probably talk to somebody about that. And, with the weight loss, we'll give you a pill and hopefully that'll help, but it could cause your postpartum depression to be even worse and you may become suicidal, but here's a pill. And I sat there and I was like, I took home this prescription and I took it at first and it made me absolutely crazy. And I was sitting there going, there's got to be a better way to handle this. There's got to be more to this. It's not all about, here's a pill, might make you a little crazy, but it's okay because you lose weight. Or here's, broccoli and chicken and make sure you go walk and you're going to lose weight. There was so much more to it. So for me, I think just the turning moment of it was really seeing that I was in a tight jam and I wasn't getting the help that I needed.
So how did you actually get the help that you needed? You said you were in a jam. So, the doctors weren't, they were trying to help you, but they weren't really giving you the guidance that you want. So what was it? How did you, through your journey, find the right program for yourself? Because I know you said it wasn't the diets that weren't working, the pills wasn't working. So how did you, with your journey, like how did you find your way through this? It sounded like you were on a hamster wheel.
So part of it was, I had to sit down and have an honest conversation with myself because I had identified myself so much in the roles I played. I didn't know who I was
Mm.
outside of those roles. I didn't know what made Krista happy. I didn't know what made me excited to get out of bed. It was just on autopilot all the time. And so I started with that. It wasn't, okay, I got to start cleaning out my diet. I got to start cleaning out the pantry, doing the things I had already done a million times that got me no results. It was more trying to find out what was going on emotionally and mentally and how I could better those things first. And when I sat down and I started to really think about it, being fit was something that I used to be really passionate about. Actually, I was very fit and healthy in high school, and then life kind of took a turn. And something that I had always loved was exercising. It felt good to me. So at that point, I started to pursue my own education and finding people in the industry that had similar beliefs that I did.
That's amazing. And so can you tell me a little bit about like some of the beliefs? Like you said, you wanted to search for who Krista was, and through that search, it was through your beliefs. And so was it a community that you were able to connect with to help you? Because you talk about not diets is not the way, it's about behavior change. And I know you hold several certifications, and one of them is a behavioral specialist. So can you just tell us a little bit more what that means and how that impacted you in your weight loss and with your clients?
So one of the things I started really learning and kind of paying attention to was, our habits, right? So often, like I said, I was on autopilot and we do it. We all do it. We have certain things in our lives. We learn to autopilot. We just move forward. We'll do whatever it takes. Our brain, like if you and I talked, one of my questions to my clients is, okay, when you got dressed this morning, did you put your right foot in your pants first or your left foot in your pants? And you have to answer right now. You don't know. Why would you know that? You don't need to know that. It's something that we don't have to think about because we've learned to autopilot that. And there's so many ways in our lives that we autopilot how we deal with our emotions, our habits that we have. And so for me, like I said, it became a big journey as far as self discovery. I had to go back and deal with a lot of the things that were in my head, things I had automated, habits, thought processes, all of it. And it had to start with the behaviors. It doesn't start with, I'm going to drop 50 pounds overnight. Like it starts with the smallest changes.
So it sounds like when you're talking about behaviors, it actually goes to your emotions and what's triggering those behaviors, right? So it sounds like you're analyzing yourself and being more self-aware of, like I said, you had to dig deep of where it was coming from. Like like there's the behaviors, but what is triggering the behaviors? Am I on the right track with that? Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we do, as we grow and we develop, we create behaviors, we create coping mechanisms, we create these habit patterns and habit loops that keep us going. And it's so easy, like you think about leaving the house. What is your process for leaving the house? You don't think about it because we do it. It's just what we do. So you have to be able to, and it's something that I've had to deal with a lot, and it's something that I encourage with all of my clients is we're going to journal. We're going to do some hard work. We're going to talk about getting into, that past behavior. We're going to talk about maybe some of those triggers, some people that you might be surrounded by that are they helping or are they hindering? So you have to talk and you have to be willing to get, really intimate with yourself.
Wow, that's amazing. And I know that you're an online personal trainer. So I want to dive a little bit deeper, like, being an online personal trainer, especially in today's, society and so forth, where we can't really get to the gym sometimes. So how does that work with your clients when you're working with them? You talked about journaling. Is that, I think, the first step with really getting in touch with your feelings, but how do you take them through the process of really, since you're not using a diet per se, but how do you walk them through the process so that they're able to release this weight?
Yes, absolutely. Because again, it's not all about, here's your nutrition, here's your fitness, but those are big pieces, right? So, yes, I actually, because I was in the position of being a stay at home mom of four kids, I didn't have the time capacity to be able to say, hey, I'm at the gym training people on such and such days. I had to be able to, at that time, if there's a snow day, I had to be able to flex for my kids' schedules. So at that time, before all of the world, got a little crazy and things changed, I had at that time developed an online personal business, personal training business, where I have an app where I can customize your workouts. We can do the gym workouts. We can do home workouts. We can get you your nutrition. You can track your habits, right? Because again, it all starts slowly. And it's those little changes that add up to the big changes. So I have an app that I use for my clients. They can download it on their iPhone, their Android, whatever. And what's nice about that is, I don't know about you, but I've always used that excuse. I don't have time. I don't want to go to the gym because I don't know what I'm doing. All those things that we all say to ourselves in our head. It's not, there's no barriers anymore. You have it. It's in your hand, because I guarantee you, your phone is in your hand 24/7 anyways.
I love that, like you said, and there was a comment by Alana. She talked about you're a powerful mompreneur. So I know we're talking about how you help your clients, lose weight through just really touching with their emotions. But I mean, you're a mom with four children. So I kind of want to turn the table a little bit and ask a little bit about just you building your business. So you're building your business and you want to stay healthy and you want to be there for your children. So how do you do that? Because I'm sure there's other mothers out there or just women who are juggling and doing it all and like saying, "Oh, I don't have time for this." And I'm probably that is one of the things that you hear a lot through your clients is like, "I don't have time to exercise." So I just wanted to get your thoughts, like what is your biggest challenge and how did you overcome that to build your online business?
It's a constant juggling act, because my kids are my number one priority. So, you have to be able to pivot at any given moment because they're kids, and who knows if you're going to get a phone call that, Jimmy broke his arm at the school today, or, the things that come up as a parent. But for me, I really started at first. It was very much just pockets of time, right? Okay, I have 20 minutes. I will multitask on the treadmill, sending my messages out to my clients. It's finding just those few minutes where I'm using social media. I use social media a lot in a strategic manner. It's not just sitting there. I do get sucked into watching the fun things, but it's more about creating that strategy that works for you. It's sitting down and creating that boundary with your children as well. I think that's a huge thing. You have to say, hey, look, these are mom's office hours. Mom is working right now. This is, you can come in. I'm doing office paperwork, or, hey, I have my meetings. I actually had a whiteboard outside my office at one point that said, what my meetings were for the day. And that way the kids knew, like, you can either come or go, or just leave mom alone.
I can so relate to you. Every time, I put the sign on the door, in meeting, or, live streaming, or I put
Yeah.
everybody on notice before I go into a, meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and, so that is definitely it. But even that with your health, I think as moms and as women, we need to put people on health, that we got to put our health first. And so I'm going to pivot back to the habits and changing those habits, because I believe that's one of those habits, thinking that you don't have enough time for your health. So can you share with us, like, one of your biggest success stories with your clients, like how you were able to help them move to achieve their weight loss goal?
Yeah, no, I've had some amazing, amazing clients, and it's so awesome because my clients, it's not a thing of as far as we're going to lose this weight and we're never going to talk to each other ever again. I tend to keep my people around forever, and I love that. And I'm so grateful for that. But I've had clients where, we were struggling with hormone imbalances. We were struggling with diabetes. I've had people that were pre-diabetic with, on all kinds of medications. And, it's those moments again where I personally like to work with that information. I want you to go get your blood work, because that's going to give us a huge insight as to what is going on within your body. The things that, may not be so obvious, because your nutrition and your fitness and everything else should be geared towards you specifically when you're really, really serious about this journey. So like I said, I've had some clients that were diabetic, pre-diabetic. They had Hashimoto's. Like, we've had to go through and really, really get specific and look at what's going on, in your nutrition. When you're pre-diabetic or diabetic and you're on insulin, you have to go through, you have to look at what you're eating, but also the habits around what you're eating. Because again, so many of us are doing things out of habit. We don't recognize them until we start creating that awareness and really paying attention to what we're doing with that within our days.
Wow, I love that. So you're really able to customize, because there's so many diets out there that are just not customized. You do it this way and you should lose weight, but it sounds like you take time to really understand your client's history, so that they're really able to help them in a way that probably other diets can't help them, and so forth. So I know you're also working on a project. It's called the Body Project, I believe. And can you tell me a little bit more about that? I think it's a neat gift that you give to your clients, and just share a little bit about the Body Project. Yeah.
So I have on my website the Body Confidence for Life guide. That is totally free. It's I want to say it's about a 20-page ebook, and it has about 5 different steps on how to kind of start building that confidence within yourself. And it's something that we've talked about. I think as women, we're like, I can't feel good about myself until, right? We put out these things, and I think it's not even just with our health, it's with our businesses too, right? Like, I can't feel good about being an entrepreneur until I've reached X amount of dollars, or all of these things. And so I have an ebook on my website. It's totally free. You can absolutely grab that. It is about building that confidence today, right? Working towards some of those things. How do you change some of those, conversations you're having with yourself? How do you take control of your life? And then I also have the Body Positive Project, which is a 6-week transformation program, which does have nutrition. You've got recipes, you've got a nutrition guide, you've got all of that information out there. It's got your workouts, it's got your journal entries, and it's got some videos in there, like all the things you could need. And then, of course, I'll be working with my clients on that one as well, because again, your situation is probably different than my situation. And so having the conversation as to how we can tailor it to help you have that success is a huge thing for me.
So I want to go back to, you said having conversations with yourself. Tell me what that's like. How do you switch that? Especially I'm assuming that when well, I know for myself, when I through I weight loss journey over the years, 3 babies later, it's like you said, because we're those roles that we get stuck in our identity. So how do you change that conversation, or how do you help your clients change that conversation with themselves?
I think honestly, some of the things that I've worked through that I try and help with my clients with is, first we set goals, right? And I think everybody can like honestly raise their hand and say they've created a vision board for their lives at some point or another, right? Like that's just something that we're taught to do. We're going to create a vision board. One of the things that I start with my clients is that goal setting process. And I started doing them, and I was like, okay, I've got my picture of, my car and my weight loss and, the cute outfit I'm going to wear after I lose all this weight, or, here's, just the things that we put on there, and taking it a step further as far as, okay, what is the feeling that I'm trying to get after? Losing this weight. What do I think I'm going to feel like? What am I trying to feel like? Is it that I want to be strong? Is it that I want to feel sexy? What is the feeling that's behind that? And it's creating that feeling every single day, right? Because we're not going to drop that 30 pounds. We're not going to hit that 30K mark today. We have to set those goals out. But what can you do today to create those feelings in your life so you can create the momentum and the habits that are going to support you to get there?
Wow, that's really powerful. It's about the feelings, and that's going back to identifying those negative and those positive feelings. So it sounds like you want to make sure you're identifying what makes you feel good, not what makes you feel bad, right? So through that journey, when you change, so those are the behaviors you're really changing. It's those feelings that we have, especially when it comes to weight loss, and we are so bombarded with body image. So how do we deal with that? Especially with social media in our face all the time, and you don't know if it's a real picture or not a real picture of a person. So how do you bring that realness to your clients when you're working with them, especially when you have all this I won't say negative positive images out there, right? So how do you do that when we are bombarded with this body image of how we should be as a woman? What do you do? How do you work your clients through that so that we can be more loving and accepting of our own body image, because we are different, not only in body, but just what's going on internally with our health. How do you deal with that, especially when everyone's different?
It's a funny thing to be in. And, as somebody who was quote unquote morbidly obese when I started this journey, I mean, that's the clinical terminology. I had a really hard time with that myself. I would get on social media and I'm looking up, personal trainers, and I'm like, I don't look anything like these people. but it's the reality, right? Because like you said, we are overexposed to social media. We are overexposed to filtered photos, Photoshop, all of it. And that's something actually I talk about in that guide is you need to cultivate an environment that's supportive of you. And sometimes that means going through and doing a social media audit to begin with, right? It's something, like I said, our phones are in our hands 24/7. So audit what you're looking at. Is this contributing to your mental health, or is it taking away from your mental health? Is this contributing to you feeling good about yourself, Or are you walking away going, yeah, I don't feel so good about myself all of a sudden. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not whatever. And so for me, and even with, some of our friends, right? We're on social media. We get some of those, people that are posting constantly, and you're like, okay, well, Susie's posting again. Yay. There's an amazing unfollow button and it works wonders, but that's something you have control over, right? We have control over a lot of the information and the context that we are taking in. So filter it. This is all about creating boundaries in your life and habits that support you. You got to start with those boundaries. Filter what is coming in.
Yeah, when we talk about boundaries, it's usually about boundaries with other people, setting boundaries. But now we got to set boundaries with ourselves. Like you said, if you're seeing something that's not making you feel, that's making you feel icky or just not good, then stop watching it, right? Or like you said, just delete it off your social media and so forth. So it's not only setting boundaries with other people, but with your own habits and what's making you, that you got to set those boundaries. And so I really love that, that share about, we got to, it's the boundaries that's going to make the difference when we're going through this weight loss journey, and really identifying what makes us feel good and what it is. That clarity in the goal setting, right, is what is the outcome that you want to achieve, will help you. So that's where the habits and the behavior, it sounds like you're working with a lot with your clients. Now, I want to take a little break because we were talking about media, right? And we are so honored that we're able to be on the Los Angeles Tribune, because they're all about positive media and bringing, good information. And that's why we have you here today with us, Krista. But let's take a look about what the Los Angeles Tribune is up to and how they're making a difference in the world.
Hello and welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune. Since 1886, our name has been a part of the world of journalism. We have earned a reputation for being a publication that practices integrity, authenticity, and responsibility. For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
And welcome back. And we're here with Krista Pepper. And she has been sharing with us her journey of just, weight. And it's not, you said you made a comment earlier, it's not really about weight loss. Can you just get a little bit deeper in that? It's not really about losing the weight, but what is it really about when you went through your own journey and with your clients? Like, what is the focus?
I was somebody who bought into everything, right? Like I swear at this point in my life, I could have probably owned a Bentley or two or three with the things that I invested in my pursuit of, losing weight and being healthy. But what I have found a lot of times with a lot of my clients, we know, right? Eat your vegetables, right? We all got that memo a long time ago. Some of us even got it in kindergarten, right? Like, eat your vegetables. It's healthy. It's good for you. Go for a walk. It's healthy. It's good for you. But what I find with a lot of my clients, and myself included, and that's kind of part of this process, is there's so much more of weight that we're carrying that's not necessarily physical weight. We are carrying a lot of trauma. We're carrying a lot of emotional situations, emotional baggage in our journeys. And at some point, your body ends up keeping that. You're holding on to that. For some of us, weight can be a coping mechanism, right? If I feel, and this was part of my journey, I am unlovable. So now I've got weight on me that, just reinforces that negative behavior and that negative thought pattern. I am unlovable, and now I'm overweight. So now I've really confirmed that I'm truly unlovable. So for a lot of my clients, we can go through, we can fix that nutrition, we can clean all of that up. But that's why, going through those behaviors, going through the journaling process, really getting, intimate and, authentic with yourself and taking away some of that external information that you've absorbed.
Wow, that's really powerful. You're saying it's not just about the pounds, but it's the trauma or the words that we use is creating that weight. And so once you can really identify that and see what it really is, it sounds like the actual pounds will just melt off, because you're really dealing with it's those, we call them like limited negative beliefs that we have that we've created, and those usually is over time, right? Especially as moms or as women who are working all the time, that we don't realize that we are gaining those extra pounds of just not being good enough or not doing enough in the world, and it's amazing. So I want to talk a little bit more, just you talked about people online and so forth. Can you tell us a little bit more about that experience? Because I know traditionally, you hire an a trainer, you go into the gym and they work with you personally. So how have you been able to do that, especially being online? I know you said you had your app and so forth like that, but how are you able to really, we talk about exercise, you're supposed to do exercise, right? So how do you work with, women? And I'm sure you work with men and women, I'm assuming. We're talking about women, but do you work with men also, or just mostly women?
I do take on men clients here and there.
Okay.
Just, I have friends that'll reach out and they'll say, "Hey, this is what I'm going through," and so I will absolutely help them. But my general group is women, because we can talk about some of that stuff that we want to
Okay.
talk.
Right.
We can talk a little bit about those hormones and pregnancy and some of the things that the guys really don't want to hear about.
Exactly. And that really takes a toll. Like you said, it's our hormones, right? In those pregnancies, and our
Mhm.
bodies are changing as women. And we don't realize, that figure that we had, before children, how much, we change and so forth. And so, and
Yeah.
I don't think even when you go to the medical doctors, they talk about hormones enough. Like that could be the reason why, can be impacting your weight loss and so forth like that, because of all go on throughout the life. But yeah, but I just wanted to go a little bit deeper about like how do you get people off the couch, especially if you're not there with them in person.
Right? It's really hard, right? I remember seeing a meme that was like, I'm gonna lose weight if I have somebody walk around my kitchen, smacking the bad food out of my hands, right? And that's the truth. We get into that mindset where it's like, can I have somebody like walk around, smack the bad food out of my hands? So with the online training and the way I developed this is I don't need to follow you around. However, I absolutely can leverage my technology to make that a thing where I get an alert when you check in for your workout. I get an alert when you've completed your workout. I get an alert when you've hit a PR. Like you all of a sudden, we're lifting, 30 pounds. Now you're lifting 45. I get an alert. So it's very much connected. I can send you videos, and then my clients can send me videos. So if I'm not there in the gym and all of a sudden you're doing something and you're like, you know what? This just doesn't feel right. Something's wrong. I don't like how this feels. I can actually have a video conversation with you in that moment if I need to, or you can just send me the video and say, this is what I was doing, this is what feels wrong. And we can look at how you are moving and create something that's going to actually correct whatever movement patterns you may have developed over time. A lot of us, we're all sitting, right? Because, it's been a crazy couple years. A lot of us went to like work from home status, and we're sitting at home a lot. So there's a lot of muscle imbalances. And I personally was in that position where I'm like, I'm working out at home, but all of a sudden, like my back hurts really, really bad. What is going on? So the technology that I've been able to leverage around my business really allows me to still be in those moments with my client, as well as be able to hold them accountable, because I can see when there's been a missed workout and I will send a message, hey, what's up? What you doing? Because we need that accountability, right?
Right. And actually, I was just going to ask you about that. So it sounds like, accountability is a big part of it. And that's why we hire coaches, right? To help us with accountability. And I love, like you said, in your app, you're able to really track your clients' progress. And so that, for them probably is a relief, because you can keep them on the right track. And it sounds like you said you check in with them, but not blame them, giving a downer, but just, hey, checking in, like, how's everything going, right? Is there any way I can support you in your journey, because it's really now about, making a person feel bad if they didn't reach their goals. Because I'm sure you've worked with people that have the yo-yo effect, right? Up and down and so forth like that. So how do you keep them motivated when they're going up and down in their weight loss journey? Because I know for me, that's been one of my um, struggles that I've had to overcome, and I really came to loving my body and to say, hey, this is the way my body is. It's not going to be any different, but I can still be healthy in the inside. So how do you work with people who are on that yo-yo that's up and down, and keeping them encouraged to make it through to the finish line?
And it's great that you point that out, because again, and this is, going back to us women, like we were talking about, our bodies go through this whole up and down process throughout life, whether we have kids, whether we don't have kids, we've got hormones, those are going all up and down. But with our weight, that goes up and down. It's a season, right? I don't know about you guys, but come winter, we all tend to put on an extra 5 pounds because it's cold, it's dark, and we're at home and we want comfort foods. Right? That's just what it is. That's how this works. But the way that we get back to the process is not necessarily the weight on the scale, right? We get so wrapped up in this number on the scale. I have to be this perfect weight. I have to hit this number, or I have to wear this particular size of jeans. And for my clients that are kind of going on that up and down journey, first of all, that tells me that there's some external stuff possibly triggering some internal stuff, right? We have life circumstances, kids all of a sudden move out, divorces happen, whatever's going on, job changes, there's a lot of external things. And usually when there's external forces, the first thing, especially as women, we tend to give up and drop is the priorities we've created for ourselves, right?
Right.
Like,
Oh,
that's just what
absolutely.
we do.
Yes.
We're caretakers.
Yes. And we care for people before we care for ourselves as caretakers, right? Now, I know that we've had a lot of amazing comments from our viewers, but I wanted to see, kind of reach out and see if there's any questions, that anyone has any questions about, your journey, how you help your clients. We have Believe in Yourself. He says, nothing great was ever accomplished alone. I love that, right?
That's
So
true.
you have that accountability built into your app, and just sounds like, your clients are more than your clients. It sounds like you have long relationships with them. So it's a journey. It's not about the destination. I think that's phenomenal. So I'm just kind of looking to see if we have any more questions or comments. But I just want you to share with us, is there anything that we haven't shared or covered today that you'd like to share with us?
I think one thing I would love to share is this journey is not easy, right? And like
Right.
you said, we go on these up and downs. It's like a roller coaster. And, I think that as you start to build yourself, you need to celebrate yourself every every single day. And I've had coaches, and I had a great coach that was like, what did you accomplish today? And I'm like, well, I cleaned the shower while I was in the shower, which gave me a few minutes of my life back. And she was like, that's fantastic. And I'm like, really? Really? That was like an award-winning moment for me? Okay. But the logic in that was spot on, because again, we're on autopilot. We're going so fast. We've got to-do lists that are longer than the CVS, receipt. And it's just this constant thing. So, I think if you can take a moment of your day and say, you know what? I only ate one cookie rather than the 4 I had in my hand. Like, yes, that's a
Celebrate,
win.
right?
Yes, yes. I
Celebrate.
don't think we give ourselves enough credit for even those little things that show up in our lives. We
Right.
don't take the time. And that's where you start to build that confidence in yourself and feeling good about yourself. Again, it's not the number in the scale, it's feeling good here. So celebrate it. If you just did something, you consider small, like I did, cleaning the shower while in the shower, so I had 10 minutes extra in my life, like, okay, I'm going to celebrate that. You
Oh
have
my
to
gosh.
start with those small things, and you deserve it. You deserve to celebrate yourself.
We do. And we have a question here, and I think you answered it, but I just want to bring it up. Laura's asked us, what can you do as a mother, and you're balancing work-life balance? And you said, wow, I got 10 minutes extra because I cleaned the shower, but can you share anything else with us? Like, as mothers who are working or building a business, how can we, balance it? Not that there's such thing as balance, but how can we do it? And we talked about celebrating just those little wins, but there's anything else, any more tips that you can give for us as mothers? And yes, please share with us.
I've struggled with the term balance for years because I think it might be a made up thing in some areas. Okay. I'm just going to be honest with that. There are days where I am running around. I feel like my hair is on fire. The car breaks down. You have plans, you have priorities, and life throws you monkey wrenches all the time. You have to learn to laugh. You have to learn to go with it, obviously. And you have to learn to decide what your number one priority is in that moment. As far as, I've had a really stressful couple of weeks. The one thing I've done is I tell everybody for an hour, my phone is off, everything is off. You cannot talk to me, you cannot come near me. I am working out because I feel better when I take care of myself, right? It goes back to that whole thing. I can't pour from an empty cup. And it's something I think as women we do struggle with in a huge way because, again, we're prioritizing everybody else. So if you can find even 5 minutes of your day to create that self-care routine that makes you feel better, then do it and guard it with your life. Again, we're back to that boundary conversation. Even if it's, and I remember when my kids were young and like, even going to the bathroom by yourself was like, woo, we did this. It's
Oh my
this
God.
exciting moment,
Yes, right.
You see the
You close
hands
the bathroom
creeping.
door, right? And then have
Right.
5 minutes of peace. And I want to go
It's
out to
true.
Cynthia here, right here. She's saying, I want to understand which habits to understand to prior towards self-care. And I think you shared it, just like turning off your phone for an hour and say, hey, I'm going to go to the gym or work out for an hour. But is there anything else you'd like to share with us? Like, how can we really transition and turn it around and prioritize ourselves first?
Again, I think that that's a very personal situation, right? Because for me, like everybody talks about how meditation is amazing. I can't, like, I'm sorry. I try really hard and I'm like, I'm in my head, I'm busy, I'm running. And as soon as I sit down, I'm like, quiet moment. I'm like, oh, I've got this list going in the back of my head. That's not something that works for me. Find something that works for you. Try and create a habit that may support you in your health goals. Personally, I get off and I go for a walk. I will turn my headphones on. I will turn music on because, again, I don't want all of that external noise. I'll just turn on music that makes me feel good and I'll go for a walk. It's a reset. It's hitting that reset button for myself. There's many, many great tools for, taking care of yourself, the journaling, meditation, yoga, dance. I love dancing because, again, I've got music on. I can't think about anything else. I have to think about where my left foot's going and my right foot's going and hope I don't trip and fall over myself.
Right? Oh my God. So it's really, you said the boundaries, but setting a goal just to do something that you love, and it depends on you as an individual and what that is. And
Yeah.
it doesn't even have to be an hour. I mean, just 10, 15, 20 minutes. But it sounds like you have to really to make it a priority, you got to put it in your schedule. And I know for me, sometimes what I'll do is I'll write in, I'll make a meeting with myself. And then when
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm going to a meeting. It means I'm going to the gym, but I don't tell them I'm going to the gym. I have a meeting. I'll be back in an hour
Yeah.
and then I'll give you a call
Yes.
back. I mean, it got to that point at one point because I kept taking my phone calls as far as going to the gym. So I just created a meeting for myself. And then that's how I created it as a priority, right? You just put it on your schedule. So we have
And
here
it's
from
it's
Michelle.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt,
No,
but
you're good. No, it's
okay,
it's
good. So
funny. I
let's
think
see
that,
what's
as we create those, we tend to feel selfish at first.
yes, we
And it's not something to feel selfish about. You have to take care of yourself because otherwise you end up in a really bad position. Your health can, become a detrimental situation. Whereas right now, if you have that option to really create that priority and that boundary, I so encourage you to do it.
absolutely. And you talked about the cup, you can't pour from an empty cup. So that's really, you're just pouring into yourself. It's not about being selfish. So Michelle Quevedo, she says, Krista, what's the best way to encourage people to work with you who need the help?
My website is there. You can absolutely get on there. You can send me a DM on social. I am all about Instagram. I'm there. I am always open to have a conversation. I love to jump on Zoom, connect with my clients, connect with friends, and get to know people and see, if it's a good fit and how I can help.
And what I really love about you, Krista, is because you've actually been through the journey yourself. So you're able to help because you can really relate to people. I mean, not all the time we understand what maybe people are going to, but you can relate because you've been there and you've done that. And I think that's what's special about what you do, is because you can relate to the journey of just really, and it's not about releasing the weight. So what do you say to your clients? Because I know like diet and weight, that's what we hear all the time. I want to lose weight. I want to have a diet. So what do you say to your clients so that you're not focusing on weight and diet? Is it you're talking about more of habits and behaviors, or what's that conversation when you're coaching? Because I know in the real world, all we hear is about, oh, take this diet, like you said, take this pill, immediate weight loss. So what do you say to your clients so that you can help them transition from that weight loss diet mentality into really about habit and change?
I started with the fact that I am never giving up chocolate. I will have chocolate every single day of my life, and I will drink my coffee every day, and I'll eat carbs. Thank you. But that's where I start, because you need to start with, yes, we want to lose weight, and that is a good goal, right? We know from studies, from watching the last 2 years of what's happened in our health industry and the world, taking care of our health is a huge priority. Losing that extra weight could potentially be a life-saving thing, right? So we're going to start with losing weight. But it's more than that, because I personally don't want to be on a diet for the rest of my life. I personally don't want to look at bread for the rest of my life and think it's like my mortal enemy. I want to be able to go out and live my life. I want to go to my friend's barbecue and eat what's being served rather than have like my special dressing and my special food like brought with me. So it's more about creating the lifestyle that's going to support you reaching those goals. It's more about creating those day-to-day pieces. I talk to my clients about adding protein into their meals. That's a huge thing. It's a great starting point if you're trying to lose weight. Add protein. Okay, I'm not saying take out anything. I'm saying add something. You add things in, you start creating that domino effect to where you can create changes that you don't even notice and yet have these huge impacts on that process.
That is so phenomenal, because when you take away, it's like you're not being deserving, or you're lacking something. So instead of taking something away, you say, this is what I want, so I can still live a full life. Hey, I can still drink coffee. Great. I can still have these things, but then it's in limitation, right? Then like
Right.
you said, you talked about the cookie, right? Instead of having 4 cookies, I had 1 cookie, but I still enjoyed the 1 cookie. So I think
Yes.
that's amazing that, diet, it creates that lack of that I'm
Yeah.
missing out on something, right? And so that makes it even harder for us to change habits, because then all you think about is the cookie. But if you think about, oh,
And
I get that
yeah.
1 cookie, yeah, I get that 1 cookie, then you can
Yes.
savor that cookie, right? And like, oh my gosh, this is so great. So it's really,
Yes.
just changing, reframing, right, or reprogramming that it is okay to eat the things that you love, but then eat it in moderation, right? It sounds like that's what putting those boundaries on.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of rebellious. So when somebody tells me I can't do something, I'm like, hold my water. I will show you. So if somebody tells me I can't eat carbs, I'm like, oh, I need to clean them out of my house, AKA I need to go eat them all right now so they're not tempted later, or something along those lines. And I noticed from talking to my clients, I'm not the only one that thinks that way. Right?
Right.
So you don't have to give up all these things. You don't have to, if I tell you not to think about a white car, When you go driving today, you're going to see white cars everywhere. It's the
Everywhere.
same thing. So we're going to concentrate on, like I said, what we can add rather than what we can take away.
I love that. What we can add instead of taking away. And I see another comment. I don't know if we can bring it up by Laura. She has a question for you. She said, can you mention someone you take as an inspirational leader to follow or a mentor you have had?
You know, I follow a lot of inspirational people, and I look at, you know, different aspects of life as far as that goes. You know, Danielle Laporte is somebody that I've absolutely loved to follow as far as the mindset process, you know, and really getting good with my goals. You know, I have a lot of great friends that I follow, and, you know, it is about who you surround yourself with. You know, the people here at the LA Tribune, amazing people. It's really about, you know, finding those people that really jive with you and have that same message. You know, Gabby Bernstein's a great person for that soul situation. You know, there's some trainers out there that I enjoy following as well. And just coaches, people that help push you to be a better version of you. You know, I read personal development all day, every day. I don't remember the last time I read something that was not personal development, but you have to find those voices that resonate with you. There's some people that people are like, this book's amazing, and I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. So again, it goes back to really cultivating your surroundings and surrounding yourself with people that resonate with you and encourage you to be the best version of you, whatever that looks like.
Well, your story has definitely been very encouraging. And, you know, we're here at Ignite Your Essence, and I see the essence in you. So, you know, you talked a lot about, you know, some of the things you do, like, you know, listening to music and going for a walk. But is there anything else that helps you? You talked about your mentors and that personal development. That sounds like it's really key, especially when it's with your um, healthier version of yourself. I'm trying to use better words than diet and losing weight, but you know, just become healthy. It sounds like personal development is also a key. But is there anything else that helps you ignite your essence? I mean, you said you love working with women because you get to have those real life conversations with women. But is there anything that you do on a day-to-day basis that helps you ignite your essence and the essence of others?
It's a passion. It's finding your passion in life. It's, you know, I have days where I am burnt out. I am burnt out, and I look at my calendar and I'm like, I have meetings, I have, you know, all this stuff going on. And it's so funny because the minute I jump on these meetings, because I've cultivated an amazing amount of people that are just the ones that really fill me up, I get off of these calls and I'm like, all right, let's go. You know, it's truly, truly, you have control. And I think that, you know, this last couple of years, we've had to look at that as far as I have control only over so much in my life. I really don't have, you know, control over all the things I thought I did. And so looking at what you can control, you know, the people you're surrounded with, the information that you're taking in, it's one of the biggest steps that you can take, and have those people that you can call up, you know, okay, I'm not feeling great. Like I might, you know, go eat the big tub of Ben and Jerry's right now or whatever. Having that accountability with somebody where you can be honest and say, you know what, I need somebody to kind of help carry me in this moment. That's the best thing. That's what we need in life. And that, to me, because I have people that I can turn to that way, it makes it so much easier for me to turn around and be that person for somebody else.
Wow. So it's okay to have not so good days, but you know how to get yourself out of the funk with those days, right? You know, you have the community or your girlfriends or just friends who you can turn to. And it sounds like, you know, basically the like-minded people that are there for, you know, to
Mhm.
encourage you. So that's just truly amazing. So, you know, it's been such a pleasure. And is there anything else that that you haven't shared or that I haven't gone through? I mean, I just love your authenticity, like just, you know, that you're able to really tap into who you are and not, I love what you said about you don't have to give up anything. It's just about adding in and just becoming the best version of yourself. And it's okay to fall off and just get back on. I mean, it sounds like it's not the destination. It's always about the journey and you know, just loving yourself and just identifying who, like, I want to ask you because you said you went through this process of identity, right? And you said you were the wife and the mother and and these identities. So what do you identify yourself now, like when you went through this journey and after you've released, because you said 100 pounds that you actually released during this journey. So how do you identify yourself now?
I identify myself as Krista. I'm a little crazy. I like to laugh and I like to have fun and I like to have good people around me. And I found the things that make me passionate and happiness, and that's who I am. I want to show up, I want to serve, I want to make somebody else's life better. I'm not any of the roles that I play. I am my own individual person having this experience as we all are, and that's how I identify myself as now. We do fall into those places of this is who I am, and we all have those times, and that's okay. But just remember, your value and your worth is not in your title or the position that you're playing in life.
That's amazing. I love that you're fun and loving. And there is one thing else. The big question. We have a big question that we ask all our guests, and we got to ask you too by Buckminster Fuller. And the big question is, how do we make the world work for 100% of humanity in the shortest possible time through spontaneous cooperation without illogical damage or disadvantage to anyone? So, Krista, please share with us. How would you, or how do you do that?
Again, I think it's just a reiteration of everything I've already said. We're all individual people having an individual experience, but we're all doing it together. So figure out who you are, how you can serve, and how you can show up as the best version of yourself and give that to somebody else, whether it's through community service, whether it's just answering your phone. Sometimes that's a huge deal, right? Somebody calls you and that's all you need to do is just answer your phone. So learn who you are, find that passion, and then be there to serve somebody else.
Yeah, I love that. Just even answering your phone because somebody is calling on the other end maybe just needs to have that voice of hello, right? So I think
Yeah.
that's a phenomenal tip. It's just, being the best version is just being there for others and being of service to others. So I just want to thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation today, Krista. And, there were so many quotes. I love this one about Michelle. She says, I appreciate how versatile Krista is with her clients, regardless of health challenges. She really tailors her systems towards supporting them. And we really resonated with you today. And I just love how you just show up. Like you said, you identify yourself as that fun and loving person. So it sounds like you're really real with your clients. And so then they can resonate with you and feel like, yeah, I can do this. And that's what I see is like, wow, I can do this because Krista has done this. Right. So I just want to thank you.
Life is hard.
Yeah, life is hard, right? So you got to laugh a little bit, right? So I love that you said you're fun and loving and just simple as that. It's not what we do, right? It is just how we show up in the world. And I just want to thank you for just showing up today, giving your all to us and just sharing your journey and your client's journey. It's truly amazing. And with that, I just want to say thank you, Krista. And we really would love to have you back with us and share your insights in the near future. So with that, thank
you so
you.
much.
And I just want to go ahead and just, thank all our viewers today for just joining us today here on Ignite Your Essence. I just want to remind you that you can find us on all the streaming platforms. We're here on the Los Angeles Tribune, Facebook, and YouTube. And then we also have our Ignite channel. Also want to remind you that next week, please join us. We have 2 shows, Wednesdays and Thursdays. And next Wednesday, our host, Michele A, is going to be interviewing Ori, who is the accidental gangster. So that's going to be an amazing interview. And then on Thursday, I have a powerhouse woman. They call her the real deal, Trina Newby. So please join us next Wednesdays and Thursdays with Ignite Your Essence. And with that, bye-bye for now.